in the sheet 2, I didn't create anything, right?
Yeah, no.
Let's say if I drop one of the column from coffee chain, you can see there is a tick mark, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back to sheet 1. I use subcategory wise sales, and you can see there is a tick mark here for superstore. So when you drop any of the column for the first time, let's say I drop state from coffee chain, this will become the primary data source. So there is a concept called as primary data source, and there is a concept called as secondary data source. Okay, step by step try to understand. But you can ask like, why should we join? As I said, right, there are different subject areas.
Okay.
We should go for joining between the
Step by step
tables
try to
to
understand.
get
But
combination
you
of
can
the
ask
data.
like
I
why should
mean,
we join?
I need to
As I
fetch
said,
some
right,
set
there
of
are different
information
subject
from
areas.
coffee chain
Okay. We
and
should
some
go
other
for
information
joining
from other
by step
database.
try to
Okay,
understand.
I know this is completely different databases here, but in general, in real time, there are some applications, right? We have to go for join. But here we are not talking about the naming convention join. Officially, it is joining, but we don't use the naming convention join. We do call it as blending. And there is an alternate concept the Tableau introduced in 10 plus version. That concept is called as cross database join. Okay, I will compare both the results. What actually data blending, what actually cross database join. Go back to here. So as I said, when you drop any of the dimension or measure, this will used as a primary data source. How will you understand this? By using this blue color tick mark. But when you use both, right? Let's say I want to, when you click on coffee chain, you can able to see the coffee chain related measures, right? Some budget costs, budget sales, profit margin. These are related to coffee chain. And we have market, product. But when you click on Superstore, the data is different. As you know, right? We have region, segment, product, customer name, and we do have discount, profit. But you can see there is a symbol, right? You can see there is a linking field. I'll tell you what exactly this is. But when you click on Superstore and drop any of the measure, let's say I will drop sales, you can see I was able to create one of the report called as state-wise sales, but I am using state from coffee chain. I drop state from coffee chain and I drop sales from superstore data. How to identify is if it is a primary data set, okay, if it is a primary data source, you don't have any symbol, right? But if it is coming from secondary data source, you can see there is a symbol to identify here with a probably the red color, right? You can see the red color tick mark here, which is not thicker red in color, but you can see, right? So you can see a blue color tick mark and you can see a red color tick mark. When you drop any column first time, that database will become as a primary and this will be a secondary data source. But you can ask why we are getting this linking field. This concept is called as blending. How to identify that? So there is an option called as data. In the previous version, there is a naming convention, edit relationships. So that most of the people doesn't understand. So probably for the developers, they are aware of that. But for the first time, they might not know that this is related to blending. But now Tableau given a proper naming convention that you can see edit blend relationships. So what exactly the common column between these two tables, right? We can check from here. Data, edit blend relationships. And when you look into this, right, you can see clearly there is a naming convention called as primary data source and secondary data source. Perfect. Can we add multiple data sources apart from two? Yes. We can also connect to another database. I'll showcase that. But can we switch from primary to secondary? Here you can switch, but it doesn't work. Let's say I converted primary to secondary. We cannot switch. But how to perform, how to practically switch? Yes. This is at sheet level. Now, this is the main example I'm going to teach you to understand the data. When you look into this data in the coffee chain, see, I'll come as I said, this is on a high level. I'll go in detail. So when you use coffee chain database and the state field, how many states we are able to see? How many number of records? You can see from here in the bottom right, bottom left side, 20 rows. Correct? This is coffee chain state field. Okay. How many records? 20. I will type in here 20. Create another sheet. Select Superstore. Drag and drop state field into rows. How many number of records we have here for Superstore? 14. Correct? We can see 49 right here. 49 rows. So there is a difference between coffee chain and Superstore. Perfect. In the coffee chain state related information, we have only 20 records. But when you go back to Superstore, we do have 49 records, 49 states data available in Superstore. Understand, right? So that way, I'm going to perform a join between these two. I mean, blending. That's a relationship. That is the reason why we do function called as joins when we work with data blending. Okay. So we have an option called as edit relationships. Can we use other joins or can we perform joins between these two tables? These two data sources by making use of blending. That's a relationship. That is the reason why we do an action called as joins. You can see when we work with data blending. Even if you want to perform blending on top of these two data sources based on some other column. Okay, let's say you have an option called as edit relation. You can also add here. But I will tell you what exactly how to perform. Can we use other joins or can we perform joins between these two tables? These two data sources. But try to by making use of blending. That's a relationship. That is the reason why we do